You should get some rest. Tomorrow's trial will require you to have your wits about you. Those who try to predict the future will only make a laughing stock of themselves. Those who are prepared for all eventualities win in the end. It was not only my duty, but my pleasure as well. Your father made me promise to take care of you, no matter what. Looking at you now, I can only feel pride. I just wish your father were alive to see these days. I've been through much, but I have to admit, these days I feel old. I think I want to see my homeland again. To tell you the truth, I feel like I'm ready to die. It would be nice to see Halicarnassos again first. Thank you.
It is a good day, my friend. I've been thinking. You've done the right thing by not crossing the Rubicon with the Legion. It's the right choice. You'll see. Callida was a bit preoccupied. She's concerned about Corvinus. You know that sneaky bastard is still unaccounted for. They won't. The Senate is a virtuous and wise institution. They'll see the truth of the matter. Cicero is probably the best advocate in the Republic, and he's the consul. But what do I know? I'm just a soldier. I hope you're right.
What's on your mind? Your cause is just, and I believe we can convince the Senate. However, our opponent is devious. That worries me. I worry that he will not obey the will of the Senate if the result fails to be in his favor. Will you obey the Senate if you lose? A rhetorical one. I knew you would give that answer. If it were not, our republic would be doomed. Those with the greatest power must be under the most exacting scrutiny. But to answer the question in the spirit I think it was asked, we have Cicero on our side, the second consul. This sort of situation is precise.
We will have order in the Senate now! Debating the clarity of the augury will not be productive. The consul himself stands accused. Nothing could be of higher importance. Any other relationes shall be set aside. The result of this relatio again shall be decided per discussionem, and before the sun sets. You may continue, consul, but please refrain from delving deeper into matters completely unrelated to our discussion.
Naturally. May I restate the necessity of using my actual title, Dictator, instead of Consul? Do you even know what Dictator in Perpetuo means?
The legatus has a point. Your title was granted for a limited time in order to solve a crisis. Even though the time has not passed, we can certainly say the crisis exists no more.
I beg to differ. The crisis has evidently not passed. It has merely changed context. Allow my colleague Senator Antonius to display with clarity how unprecedented and absurd this relatio is.
Dear Senators, first let us consider the source and the spirit of the regulation that allows us to appoint a consul to the position of dictator. And yet, despite all this, we somehow ended up here accusing the very man who was tasked with the prevention of this crisis.
Thank you, Senator, for this detailed and above all long explanation of something we all knew. Our memories have been thoroughly refreshed. If that will be all, we will finally discuss the evidence presented against the consul. Let us consider the events leading to the capture of Marcus Aurelius Cotta. Is it true that you were collaborating with Mithridates Megas?
Rumors. Nothing but rumors. Maliciously circulated by my enemies. The enemies of the state. I hope you remember that there was absolutely nothing to suggest those rumors had any basis in fact. My fellow consul, honorable senators, are we here to gossip like housewives or to discuss proper matters of state?
Indeed. And I do believe I have credibility here.
You.
I know you must be surprised. And I'm sure when I give a detailed account of your business relationships with Mithridates, our fellow senators will be equally surprised.
I always knew you were jealous of me, Tiberius. But I never thought you'd be foolish enough to testify against me in this manufactured case. If the Senate finds me guilty, you will receive the same sentence.
I do not intend to. I deserve to burn, and so do you, brother. Consul, senators, Romans, let me tell you a story about Mithridates Megas and my brother.
Illuminating.
Are you truly illuminated by a madman's ravings? Tiberius may be my brother, but his envy of my position is well known. He hardly qualifies as an impartial witness.
Can any witness be truly impartial? Shall we perhaps talk about the infamous invasion of Egypt?
Infamous is the correct word for it. The legatus ignited a war in a land that was already a province of Rome. He brought chaos and terror to Africa.
The way I see it, he installed law and order, and saw to it that the rightful queen of the people now sits on the throne.
I must protest. This is highly unusual, having a foreign ruler comment on our internal affairs.
I must agree. The Queen's opinions on this matter should be of utmost importance. We're listening, Queen Cleopatra.
Of course you are. Now I shall tell you how your dictator redirected taxes paid by our people into his coffers, and how he managed to get both his accountant and proconsul murdered in the process.
A chilling account, Your Majesty. Thank you for your testimony.
Once more, I must direct your attention to the utter lack of credible witnesses. Neither this legendary ledger nor the fictional accountant who wrote it are anywhere to be seen.
Then explain your presence in Alexandria at the time of the battle. Why would Ptolemy, who at the time was waging war against Rome, be on friendly terms with you?
I was trying to clean up the diplomatic mess created by your legatus.
Interesting how you just tried to cast the legatus as a foe. He was, of course, serving Rome at the time, and his campaign was declared bellum justum et pium by the Fetiales. Let us end by discussing the recent campaign against the barbarians of Gallia. You did kill members of the dictator's Praetorian Guard, didn't you, Legate?
Why would my Praetorian Guard attack you?
Indeed, why would one Praetorian Guard attack another? Enlighten us, dictator.
Is that for me to answer? He should answer first.
I see.
I see Senator Antonius has something to add.
Oh, right. I thank you for this opportunity to talk about the history of foreign leaders being represented at the Senate. First of all,
once again, thank you for your detailed explanation of this important issue, Senator. Shall we finally proceed to decide now?
We certainly shall not. The sun has set and a decision was not reached. I believe this relatio is to be declared undecided.
Under normal circumstances, a decision has to be reached by sunset. But in light of the overwhelming and damning evidence against the dictator, I believe this relatio deserves a proper decision. We reconvene tomorrow at sunrise for the final decision. This shall give the dictator a fair chance to defend himself. One final time. This session is at an end.
Let's wait until everyone has left, so we can talk to Kikoro in private.
I admit, I was rooting for you. But you really did defend your case excellently. Tomorrow's hearing will be a formality. You've pretty much won.
What you're doing is quite admirable. I did not expect anything less, but it still warrants praise. A lesser person might have been tempted to use their legion against Rome. However, I want to be certain that you understand the gravity of what you've done. You have murdered the Praetorian Guard of a sitting consul. There may yet be consequences. The Senate is made of men. It is as moral as the people who inhabit the building.
I think the risks themselves are irrelevant at this point. The Senate has been convinced of Lurko's guilt.
Despite his futile stalling, you've made it clear to everyone that Ortelius Lurko's war in Gallia was nothing but a power grab. Some of the senators do not possess the virtues required for the position. Immoral men are predictable, though. They tend to follow the...
It's best to refrain from mentioning these accusations unless we can prove them. Compared to the level of treason implied, the murder of 2 Romans seems trivial. Should he repeat his accusations of murder, it is my hope to use precisely this argument to shield you from them. What is left for him to do? All legal options are exhausted. His legion is disbanded. Even Wixie is finished. And after today, his support in the Senate is gone.
Yet he remains at large until tomorrow. His lack of options may just make him desperate. I agree. We must stay vigilant.
What do you have there?
Food for the legatus and his friends.
Let me have a taste.
It's for the Domini only.
My Dominus does not eat anything until I've tasted it.
Well, alright then.
Delicious.
That's odd. I haven't ordered any food to be brought here.
There is no eating in the Senate.
Oh, excuse me. I feel dizzy all of a sudden. There is an odd taste to this food.
Sit down, if you feel unwell.
I can't breathe.
The food was poisoned. Where did that sower go?
Stay with him. I'll get help.
Armed men have entered the forum.
We brought your weapons.
Old man. He's dead. Lurko. I shall skin your back and lay you on salt. I shall feed your cock to street dogs.
Marlon! Grieve later, Bestia! They're here!
Still alive. Make sure no one escapes.
I'll hold this angle. closer. I'll shoot as soon as I see him.
You must try harder.
Come on! Hit me! I can do this all day! I don't have time for this. Deal with them!
That honorless piece of shit! He got away!
And Skyewala has your sister. We'll need to get her out of that...
He's dead.
I'm sorry. He was a good man. My friend. Your sister.
Meet us in the Regia when your family is safe. Our dear Pontifex, Maximus Aurelius Cotta, will be good to have on our side.
We have basically already won. This attack represents a clear legal victory.
Marcus, this is not the time.
Help us! Fortuna sent you. Be swift, though. My sword arm is wounded.
one remains. This was easy.
They came out of nowhere. How did they get past the guards?
This is my home. What are you doing here? She was. We thank you for coming to our aid. I was a fool to entrust my protection to my brother's men. He knows you won your case in the Senate, and for the first time in his life, he's terrified. He's going to kill all of you. He still believes he can consolidate his power if you're gone. Ever since you ruined our schemes in Greece, you and your friends are the only people he truly fears. And despite all he's done, you've always managed to survive and come out on top. This is his final chance to get rid of you for good. What kind of man would stand idly by while his own brother tries to murder his wife? can see why you'd think Liliana is just a trophy to me. But she's much more than that. She's the mother. The Consul of Rome organizing an attack to kill a war hero. That's insane. No one would have believed me. Besides, my brother is a dictator. He's the only real author. It wasn't something I did lightly. I know his crimes reflect upon me and my family.
I'm glad you did it. Both of you. He would have come for us no matter what, I'm certain of that.
I really think you should get out of here.
You humble me with your courage. I will keep her safe.
Enough chit-chat. Go, now!
You are alive. Forgive me. We've heard the unthinkable has happened, and Lorco tried to assassinate your family. I could not believe my ears when Cato told me about Lorco's betrayal. This shall not go unpunished.
You will need to come up with a very good reason for doing this.
I'd like to see him try. Truly? What an unexpected turn of events. I suppose there is good in everyone, except Lurko, I would venture.
What if he comes back for us? I don't believe anyone close to you is safe.
Your faith is inspiring.
We need to seize the initiative. Corvinus can't be too far away. As long as he's in the wind, we can't be safe.
Maybe, but it'll take some time, and we don't have much to spare.
I know where he is.
Maybe I can ask some of my friends in the Senate. Lurko must have allies, and perhaps some of them know a few things.
Highly unlikely. Chances are not even Lurko knows where that man is.
I know where he is.
An augury might reveal his location.
Will we set a chicken loose in the streets of Rome and hope that it guides us to him? Hardly.
I know where he is! All right, there's no need to yell.
He is at Campus Martius, hiding with a group of gladiators he has hired. These are men I have fought beside in the arena, who looked up to me once. What if it is? Do we have a choice? He killed my Magister. I will make no promises. Lucius Erucius Colrenus. We're here. Come out and play.
The entire ensemble is here. I guess you're ready for the final act. I have to admit, I'm impressed. I did not expect you to be able to find this place. This isn't the first time I've underestimated that Belatro. Lurko has said that very same thing about you on many occasions. Taking out the old man wasn't my intention. He died in your stead. If anything, I'd say you killed him. Pay no heed to his words. We work for the consul himself. Vitellius Lurko will ensure that no punishment of any kind will befall us.
You, Iberius, and you, Sisenna. You fought for us all those years ago when we took back the Legatus' villa.
I do remember you. You paid a fair price for our work.
It's bad luck and worse business to kill a former employer. Come, let's leave. This stingy son of a dog can fight his own fights.
Brought that on yourself!
Lend me a hand. I got you, don't worry.
covering this area.
a big sack of wheat.
Closer. I'll shoot as soon as I see them. I'll still be feeling that one tomorrow. Over with. Over here! Help! Covering this area. closer. I'll shoot as soon as I see them.
Perhaps I need someone to help me here. You'll be fine. We are paid to fight.
Can someone get this for me?
Take my hand. I will skin your face and drink from your skull.
A charming notion, but improbable. May I propose a different option?
There are no options. You will die now.
Or we can be sensible about this and keep him alive. He probably knows a lot about Lordco's plans. Besides, Corwinus is a capable and smart warrior. He'd be useful to us.
That is not acceptable.
Finally, we can stop watching our backs. Corwinus, you are under arrest for the attempted murder of this man and the actual murder of his service. You're coming with us. Corvinus is inside. His attitude has become quite a bit more cooperative overnight. He will talk if he survives, meaning if we can restrain Bestia. We all have different ways of dealing with grief. I've sent him away. He's probably drowning his sorrows in wine now. The consul has announced that he wants to question this criminal himself, so I expect him to send some of his lictors our way. We are prepared for them. Always. She was supposed to be here. I don't know what she's doing. At once.
Everything is silent. He whimpers like a wounded dog. At sight, he tried to lick me. His tongue is, but not all his teeth. He is not worth saving. He is caught. He is evil. Does not matter if fine.
Well, here we go again. You want to try your hand at torturing me as well? And if I don't want to answer? Then why am I alive? Ask then. For too long. He hired me back when he assumed control of Weeksy. Of course not. Weeksy existed in one form or another for hundreds of years. Felix is only the latest of its commanders. I'm no fanatic, though. He merely hired me as a contingency. I am loyal to my contract. Besides, all of his loyal guards are dead, thanks to you. If I have to choose between loyalty and death, I don't have to ponder my options for long. It's not just money. Lurko is a very intelligent man, and I respect that. He plans ahead, and he rarely leaves things to chance. I honestly don't know. He is very good at keeping information contained. I only know what I need, not out of any personal animosity. With Marcellus and his useless brutes gone, it was up to me to finish the job. You asked the right question. He still has many allies in high places. Why would he risk it, indeed? My job was simply to get rid of you. The consul obviously hoped you'd get yourself killed in Gallia. I guess this was his contingency plan. You of all people should know that warfare is about positioning. Once you can cover any possible move your foe might make, victory is a natural outcome. Merely by trying to win from such a position, your enemy defeats himself. I would not bet on that. Look, I'm getting bored of this. We both know you're not going to kill me, and I've told you all I know. Frankly, none of this is any use to you. For all I know, me getting caught is part of Lurko's plan. So, hand me over to the authorities and let me face charges. Let's see. What do you have to offer? And I know you're good for it. Very well. You've got a deal.
I will find surgeon to take care of it. See you soon.
Did he talk?
That is unfortunate.
What do we do now? That could be a benefit of all this, but if you couldn't make him talk...
Not a bad idea at all. The pressure on Lurko is mounting. Every man has a breaking point.
I took precautions. The Consul of Rome cannot leave the city unnoticed. I thought they'd be with you. I haven't seen any of your companions since yesterday.
Come to think of it, Cato wanted to meet us here too. But he's late. This is so unlike him. Usually he has a plan. I wonder if the whole Corvinus business was a distraction. Distraction from what? He should be here any moment now. Don't worry. Cato is a smart man who knows how to handle a gladius.
There he is.
Your Praetorian Guard is captured in front of the Senate. We must hurry. It seems he has them arrested for a number of crimes.
He is still dictator. He can do whatever he wants.
I fear there is nothing we can do to stop him within the bounds of the law.
Political theater. He has gathered a crowd and he's calling you out. You must be very careful. I'll try to gather some praetores. This is blatantly illegal, but I guess he's finally given up all pretense.
He is desperate. Be very careful. I'll come with you to witness the situation.
Keep him occupied until I can bring help. Don't antagonize him.
I will come with you as well.
Traitor to the Republic! Murderer of Romans! Enemy of the people! I have had your co-conspirators arrested, and they are patiently waiting for their moment of execution. But my own patience is wearing thin. I know villains like you do not have a sense of honor or virtue. Nevertheless, I know you were at least born Roman. If you have a speck of honor left, confess and surrender.
Consul, what are you doing? You can't publicly execute people without trial. Our laws forbid such despotism.
As dictator, prescription is well within my rights. The people of Rome saw fit to grant me that power. Who are you to question the wisdom of the people? As long as Rome remains in crisis, I shall remain dictator. Your traitor friends are rightfully apprehended. If you want them, you'll have to go through me. It clearly isn't. You are still alive, aren't you? You always worked against me, when the only thing I wanted was to build a strong Rome. Just like your father. You are envious of what I will achieve. Great works are built on bloodshed. Sacrifices must be made.
Then make your sacrifice yourself, coward.
Unless your intention is to bore me to death, I would like to start executing these criminals.
This is bullshit! Those people are heroes!
They've done nothing wrong! Let them go!
You have lost your control, Lurko! Look at the faces of these people, your fellow citizens! They're afraid!
Only criminals and traitors should be afraid of me.
They're afraid of what you have turned the Republic into. That fear will turn into anger the moment anyone decides to stand up and protect the Republic.
You're a good tactician. Consider your position now. Your prisoners are the only advantage you possess. But they're only valuable while they're still alive. The Legatus can wait until you turn yourself into a murderer.
Or we can simply kill you and save them all. Then you will have achieved nothing here.
You wouldn't do that. You're men of law and order.
You still fail to think like a warrior. Your foe is in front of you. Strike him down and be done with it.
He can't kill us. He doesn't have the balls to do something like that. He knows he will be condemned.
I look forward to seeing my sister again, and to tell her that I am sorry. My only regret is to die at the hands of such a pathetic man.
I've shed blood in the name of Rome since the day I was born, and today shall be no different. Let him execute us, if that's what it takes to save the Republic. They say you're not a true hero until you die.
Enough! Make your decision. As you wish. Who shall we take first?
Get it over with. Take me first. Then at least I won't have to listen to your drivel any longer.
Don't do this! You love him, and he loves you. He should not lose you. Take me instead. My time was always borrowed. I will see my sister again in the House of Song.
Don't do it! This isn't justice!
I decide what is just! Execute her!
You lip-dick coward!
Rest well, my second sister. I will find you in the afterlife, and we will hunt together again.
A traitor to the Republic has been brought to justice. I truly wonder what you will do now. Witnesses! Who's going to hold me responsible? I am dictator in perpetuo! Traitor to the Republic! Murderer of Romans! I have had your... I know the consul! As dictator, prescription is well within as long as Rome remains in crisis. It clearly isn't. You are still alive, aren't you? You always worked against me, when the only thing I wanted was to build a great works.
Then make yours.
Unless you're...
They've done
You have lost
only criminal...
They're afraid of what you have turned the Republic into. That fear will turn into anger the...
You're a good tactician.
Or we can simply kill you and save them.
You wouldn't do that. You're men of law and order.
Your loyalty is admirable.
Believe me, I don't want to die. But I also don't want to see you dead.
Don't let him kill us like this. Whatever comes next, we will stand by your side. We will weather the storm as one.
Don't do it, my friend! If you strike him down now, you'll give him legitimate cause to kill you! We are not worth that sacrifice! They say you're not a true hero until you die.
Enough! Make your decision! As you wish. Who shall we take first?
Get it over with. Take me first.
Don't take me.
Don't do...
I decide what is just. Execute her.
You!
Rest well.
A traitor to the Republic has been brought to justice. I'm a man of my word. Witnesses? Who's going to hold me responsible? I am dictator in perpetuo!
This is sick! It's an atrocity!
What's next? Will you have Pompeius executed too?
Calm yourselves! People of Rome, I am you... Don't you understand? A firm hand is what the Republic needs!
Despot! Tyrant! Down with him!
Get him! Put him down from there!
Get me out of here! Just get me out!
You're on your own, Consul!
Coward!
Webius Vitellius Lurco, you're not going anywhere! Throw yourself at the mercy of the Senate!
You can't do this! You don't have the authority! Don't you dare!
That is a style of rhetorics I can get behind.
We won. My friend, you did it.
I should go home now. You do look better today.
Such things are natural. You've been tested physically and mentally. Furthermore, you've triumphed over Europe. He has been stripped of his title and office.
It should have been someone else. Deianira had no reason to give her life for Rome.
She didn't. She gave her life for us.
Lurco will certainly be exiled, or even executed. The Senate doesn't have a high opinion of traitors. Obviously, there were accusations on both sides. The Senate must hear your side of the story.
If you will forgive me for bringing this up, I believe this will be good for your political career. Why not? You are the right age to begin the cursus honorum. All senators have to start somewhere. As far as the Senate is concerned, you are a tragic hero who brought a corrupt consul to justice. Regardless of what happens to Lurco, Rome will need a new consul. And I can't think of a better candidate.
Cato is right. Both the Optimates and the Populares already support you. If you run for Senate, the election will result in a landslide win.
I have no doubts.
You did save them. Those who remain alive have you to thank for it. This chapter ends, and another chapter begins. Fortuna alone knows what the future holds.
So ends the abridged history of one of the most beloved consuls of the Republic of Rome. It is thanks to him and his efforts to thwart the corruption and ambition of Vitellius Lurco that Rome remains a proud republic to this day. With his allies in the Senate, he worked tirelessly to address the problems that had plagued the Republic since its birth. Though many among the people of Rome lamented what they saw as a lost opportunity to challenge the status quo, the strengthening of democracy greatly improved life throughout the provinces of Rome. In time, the savior of the Republic took his well-deserved place in history among such heroes as Cincinnatus or Scipio Africanus. Cinyros. Once he had been an athlete, a wrestler, and a troublemaker. But in our story, he was a servus, a protector, and a mentor. He had died diligently performing the task to which he had devoted himself, protecting his ward. Cinyros was given a tomb in Rome's finest cemetery, next to his old dominus, whose death had incited this story. Though his death had been unexpected, he met his end with dignity and resolve. He had received forgiveness and, after a fashion, vindication for the mistakes of his youth. He was missed by all those who knew him. Caeso finally seemed to have had his fill of military campaigns. Together with Lucia and their daughter, he settled down in Rome. Though their relationship was distant at first, the shared love they felt for their daughter soon brought them close, and eventually they had many more children together. To his surprise, Caeso took well to the quiet life and to fatherhood. He remained very close with his old friends, with whom he often met to drink and eat and share stories of their old lives as the heroes of the Republic. Callida's second marriage turned out considerably better than her first. With her beloved husband committed to letting her live her best life, she was happy to settle down by his side, supporting him in his endeavors as he supported her. Callida was happy to find that it was possible to be a wife and a mother without giving up the things she loved. She taught their children archery and horseback riding, and nobody ever again looked down on her for her unwomanly pursuits. Bestia stayed in Rome and remained close friends with his old companions, going out of his way to stay in touch with them all, no matter the distance that separated them. He returned to the arena, but no longer as a gladiator. His new vocation was to teach Pancration, inspired by the story of his old magister Cinyros. Though it brought him little wealth, there is no doubt it made him happy. As soon as things had quieted down, Bestia traveled to Africa once more to look for his sister. He did find her and bring her home, and she lived happily there for the rest of her life. Deianira had given her life for her friends with no hesitation and no fear in her eyes. The Amazon warrior knew that she had avenged her sister and forgiven herself for her misdeeds. She went to the Chinvat Bridge with her head held high, ready to be judged. Vitellius Scaevola left Roman politics and moved to Upper Latium with his wife Liviana, where they raised their children together in peace. Cato remained an important figure in Roman politics, grudgingly respected even by those among the population who desired change. He remained a defender of the patrician class, a shield against the pandering and opportunism of more populist voices. He himself was elected consul twice throughout his life, and his years in the position were generally favorably regarded. Cicero served one more year as consul before his retirement. In his old days, he lived a quiet life on a farm in Sicily, where he was greatly beloved by the people for his time as quaestor. He continued to write many books on politics and law. With Mithridates dead and his sons lacking his ability to rule, Pontus was soon annexed by Rome. The region never again rose to prominence. With Zenobia in charge of Musia, it became once more a peaceful part of the Roman province of Asia Minor. With her focus on trade and strong ties to the neighboring regions, her people enjoyed a period of great prosperity. Without the leadership of Damianos, the rebellion of his gladiators soon spiraled out of control, beginning what became known as the Servile War. Escaped slaves terrorized the Roman citizens throughout Thracia until the wealthy senator Crassus brutally defeated them and crucified thousands along the road towards Rome. Lunia's death sent Nazarmanes spiraling into a fractious conflict as greedy elders from minor tribes attempted to fill the void her passing had left behind. Though Queen Cleopatra attempted to bring the region under control, her attentions were too divided, the conflict too great for her to manage. Rome was forced to send more legions to enforce peace and stability with an iron fist. Though Africa Proconsularis eventually saw peace again, the traditions and culture of the Berber population were lost forever. Queen Cleopatra Philopator was, from the day of her coronation, a greatly beloved Queen of Egypt. Revered and admired by the population, she spent many of her days traveling up and down the Nile to visit her subjects and address their troubles and concerns. Under her rule, Egypt remained a powerful and prosperous nation and a strong ally of Rome. The fruits of the Nile flowed freely to the people of the Republic. After traveling all across Africa for many years, going wherever her instincts took her, Raya eventually returned to Memphis and to the service of Tener at the Temple of Ubasti. When her mentor passed away, Raya naturally assumed the mantle as High Priestess of the Cat Goddess. Though the old faith was dwindling, she was greatly beloved by many, and her temple prospered, always home to many, many, many cats. With Diwydiachus once more assuming rulership of the Aedui, the tribe maintained a strong alliance with Rome, and through it, they greatly prospered. With the aid of the Aedui, Gallia slowly unified under Roman rule, and civilization soon began to creep into those lands in the form of paved roads, aqueducts, and fortified Roman towns. In his old age, did the Druid ever regret hastening the absorption and suppression of his own faith and culture? We will never know. The once proud and strong Arverni were greatly reduced by the defeat of Vercingetorix, but his survival gave them hope. His will to make war upon Rome had been crushed, but he remained a strong figure of leadership among his people, even despite his failures. With his guidance, the tribes of Gallia remained unified and somewhat at peace, and vestiges of their culture and traditions survived their gradual subjugation under Rome. In this work, I have done my best to recount the history of this fascinating period, truthfully and accurately. As I have scoured the sources and spoken to many who claimed to have heard the story from someone who was there at the time, one thing that has stood out to me is the pivotal moments along the way where our story could have turned out very differently. In his darkest moods, the savior of Rome must have wondered if there was anything he could have done differently to save his friends. Perhaps if he had struck down Vitellius Lurco on that stage, or if he had gone so far as to bring his legion across the Rubicon, none of his companions would have had to die. But for those of us left to live in a peaceful and strong republic, what transpired seems like the best possible outcome. Our republic was saved, and the villain, Vitellius Lurco, was brought to justice. One should always take care when second-guessing historical figures with the benefit of hindsight. Here in the present, there will never truly be a way for you to know how you might have acted if you had lived in the past. Nor can you ever be certain how history will remember you.
traitor to the Republic! I have had... I know Vidcons as dictator. As long as Rome remains in crisis. It clearly isn't. You always worked against me. Great work.
Then make...
You only...
They're of your all.
You wouldn't do that. Your men are...
Lloyd.
Believe...
Don't do it, my friend! They say you're not
Enough!
true.
Make...
What are you doing? You're giving up the high ground!
Don't listen to Kikero. The lives of your friends...
Save yourself! Don't let these limp-dick bastards kill us!
You did exactly what I anticipated, Legate. This is perfect.
I highly doubt that. This angry mob seems to be quite a lot more than you bargained for, Lurko.
I'm ready to loose as soon as I see them.
Get the lictors! They're fighting in the...
Save yourselves!
Cut us loose! Come on! You need our help!
If anyone moves, they get an arrow.
Now! Now you are going to die! Leave some for me, sister.
You made a big mistake, friends.
Let's see how you handle us when we are free and armed.
Oh, shit! Fuck!
Rise, know your strength.
They are no longer any use to us.
Lictors, lay down your arms and surrender, in the name of the Republic!
Oh, I messed up badly. They're coming this way! Get the lictors! Get anyone! I'm sure this can still get worse somehow.
Sealed your own fate. Your brazen attack has all but guaranteed my control of Rome.
You have no control. Look around you, you madman. Look at the chaos you've caused.
They are no longer any use to us. I've got this direction covered. We'll circle around. We'll catch them in a pincer maneuver.
I shall rise again.
Drop your weapon, citizen. Step away from the consul. It pains me to say this, but you'll have to come with us.
Do as the Praetor says. There's not much I can do at this point.
Why did you do this?
I don't know what to say.
Say thank you for saving my gloomy ass. I, for one, am happy not to be dead.
You have disregarded everything I ever told you. And I thank you for that. But is it worth—
One life in exchange for many. That is clear.
Let's go.
You look miserable. You don't smell like you've had a bath in a while.
I had a chat with Kato. He says not even Kikaro can save you. Why did you do it? We were ready to die for you. Thank you.
I see no reason why we have to leave you in there. You may be waiting to be exiled, but they will never let you live. You're too dangerous. So, do you want to get out of here? You can go to Egypt. Surely Cleopatra will protect you. Oh, my love. You think I will leave you alone with that woman? Not a chance. I'm not leaving your side.
You know I'd come with you in the blink of an eye, if it weren't for my family. This hero's adventuring days are over. I'm sure you will understand.
My place is by your side. That I owe to my Magister.
I will come with you. I was planning to leave Rome already, and wherever we go from here, I will be happy for your company.
I was hoping you'd say that.
All right, let's start some trouble.
The story of the selfless savior of Rome has long since passed into legend. It is easy these centuries later to forget that in his time he was regarded as a criminal and forced to flee Rome with his friends to escape execution. We are more familiar with his legacy, the towering example of loyalty and righteousness that he came to represent in the years following his exile. He was a servant of Rome who rose time and time again to defend the Republic in war and in politics. It was only at the very end, when the lives of his closest friends were threatened, that he turned his back on law and tradition. The example he set for his fellow Romans has endured to this day. It is said that he sought refuge in Egypt, where he was granted a palatial estate overlooking the lush banks of the Nile. Though he was no longer welcome in the republic he had saved, he was still held in high esteem by many in Rome. And through his connections in the Senate and the trust Queen Cleopatra held in him, he maintained a great degree of influence in Rome as well as Egypt. Thanks to him, the already close ties between the two nations were further strengthened. Cinyros. Once he had been an athlete, a wrestler, and a troublemaker. But in our story, he was a servus, a protector, and a mentor. He had died diligently performing the task to which he had devoted himself, protecting his ward. Cinyros was given a tomb in Rome's finest cemetery, next to his old dominus, whose death had incited this story. Though his death had been unexpected, he met his end with dignity and resolve. He had received forgiveness and, after a fashion, vindication for the mistakes of his youth. He was missed by all those who knew him. When his friends left Rome, Caeso stayed behind in the city to settle down with Lucia and their daughter. Though their relationship was distant at first, the shared love they felt for their daughter soon brought them close, and eventually they had more children together. To his surprise, Caeso took well to the quiet life and to fatherhood, and on the few occasions when he did feel that old lust for adventure bubble back to the surface, he would leave Rome for a time and visit his friends in exile, who were always glad to see him. Even though it began in exile, Callida's second marriage turned out considerably better than her first. She followed her new husband to Egypt, where she valiantly fended off Cleopatra's advances on him. She did not take quickly to the opulent luxury of the royal palace, but eventually she did get used to it. Callida was happy to find that it was possible to be a wife and a mother without giving up the things she loved. She taught their children archery and horseback riding, and nobody ever again looked down on her for her unwomanly pursuits. Bestia returned to Africa to look for his sister again. Eventually, he did find her, and together they returned to Mauritania, where they settled down in an idyllic village and started new families of their own. In this new, quiet life, Bestia learned the true value of happiness. Deianira followed her friend into exile. Rome had never quite lived up to her expectations, and she was glad to leave it behind. Eventually, she returned to her homelands of Scythia, where she reconnected with her family. But she always remained in contact with her friends, visiting frequently with new stories and exotic spices from distant lands. Vitellius Scaevola left Roman politics and moved to Upper Latium with his wife Liviana, where they raised their children together in peace. Cato remained an important figure in Roman politics, grudgingly respected even by those among the population who desired change. He remained a defender of the patrician class, a shield against the pandering and opportunism of more populist voices. He himself was elected consul twice throughout his life, and his years in the position were generally favorably regarded. Cicero served one more year as consul before his retirement. In his old days, he lived a quiet life on a farm in Sicily, where he was greatly beloved by the people for his time as quaestor. He continued to write many books on politics and law. With Mithridates dead and his sons lacking his ability to rule, Pontus was soon annexed by Rome. The region never again rose to prominence. With Zenobia in charge of Musia, it became once more a peaceful part of the Roman province of Asia Minor. With her focus on trade and strong ties to the neighboring regions, her people enjoyed a period of great prosperity. Without the leadership of Damianos, the rebellion of his gladiators soon spiraled out of control, beginning what became known as the Servile War. Escaped slaves terrorized the Roman citizens throughout Thracia until the wealthy senator Crassus brutally defeated them and crucified thousands along the road towards Rome. Lunya's death sent Nazarmanes spiraling into a fractious conflict as greedy elders from minor tribes attempted to fill the void her passing had left behind. Though Queen Cleopatra attempted to bring the region under control, her attentions were too divided, the conflict too great for her to manage. Rome was forced to send more legions to enforce peace and stability with an iron fist. Though Africa Proconsularis eventually saw peace again, the traditions and culture of the Berber population were lost forever. Queen Cleopatra Philopator was, from the day of her coronation, a greatly beloved Queen of Egypt. Revered and admired by the population, she spent many of her days traveling up and down the Nile to visit her subjects and address their troubles and concerns. Under her rule, Egypt remained a powerful and prosperous nation and a strong ally of Rome. The fruits of the Nile flowed freely to the people of the Republic. After traveling all across Africa for many years, going wherever her instincts took her, Raya eventually returned to Memphis and to the service of Tener at the Temple of Ubasti. When her mentor passed away, Raya naturally assumed the mantle as High Priestess of the Cat Goddess. Though the old faith was dwindling, she was greatly beloved by many, and her temple prospered, always home to many, many, many cats. With Diwytirchus once more assuming rulership of the Aedui, the tribe maintained a strong alliance with Rome, and through it, they greatly prospered. With the aid of the Aedui, Gallia slowly unified under Roman rule, and civilization soon began to creep into those lands in the form of paved roads, aqueducts, and fortified Roman towns. In his old age, did the Druid ever regret hastening the absorption and suppression of his own faith and culture? We will never know. The once proud and strong Arwerni were greatly reduced by the defeat of Vercingetorix, but his survival gave them hope. His will to make war upon Rome had been crushed, but he remained a strong figure of leadership among his people, even despite his failures. With his guidance, the tribes of Gallia remained unified and somewhat at peace, and vestiges of their culture and traditions survived their gradual subjugation under Rome. In this work, I have done my best to recount the history of this fascinating period, truthfully and accurately. As I have scoured the sources and spoken to many who claimed to have heard the story from someone who was there at the time, one thing that has stood out to me is the pivotal moments along the way where our story could have turned out very differently. Might the legatus and his friends have remained in Rome to influence its politics in the years to come? Perhaps if they had chosen to lead the legion across the Rubicon and lay siege to Rome itself. I believe if such a thing had been done, Rome might no longer be a republic, but rather an empire. One should always take care when second-guessing historical figures with the benefit of hindsight. Here in the present, there will never truly be a way for you to know how you might have acted if you had lived in the past. Nor can you ever be certain how history will remember you.